I think the issue of the environment is one everyone's familiar with. You can't look at a newspaper and headlines without reading of the first leopard sighting in Delhi in 30 years, the last rhinos being poached in southern Africa, the issue of global warming, the death of the last panda, or the question of how humanity faces the future in a new century. Many people are always surprised when you say that you're a student of history and you're studying the environment. A very senior historian who's no more with us, who shall remain nameless, came across two of us in the library. We went out for coffee and he said, "You must be the most depressed guys on earth." And he said, "Why?" He said, "You're studying about things which have no hope, which have no future, death, denudation, deforestation, extinction." There is a lot of truth to that. You don't have to go very far. Even in the days of plastic money, if you look at a Indian 10 rupee note and you flip it, you see three huge animals. You see a tiger, an elephant, and a rhinoceros. And everybody knows, every school child does, that over the last 200 years, or the last many hundreds of years, these have declined across much of India. So Babur could go on a rhino hunt in Peshawar. The only rhinos extant today are in Bengal, Nepal, and parts of Assam. The tiger is restricted to about 1 or 2% of its former range. And as for the elephant, there are probably 30,000 left in a country where over 1,000 or 1,500 were being trapped every year for over 100 years. So I think there is no doubt that nature is on the retreat. But it seems to me there's another way of looking at it. As a student of history, I'm struck also by the fact that the 20th century has seen people awaken to these threats of extinction, to the idea that the environment may not be livable. So if you look at a country like India, you're struck by the fact that in the years since independence, the only major large mammal which has become extinct is the cheetah. It's probably on the way out even before. All the animals I've referred to have not only benefited enormously from protection, they are there in larger numbers in this country than any other place on earth. What is it that enables people then to live with nature? What keeps environments livable, sustainable, habitable over long periods of time? We are doing an indoor shoot on the outskirts of Delhi, a city which is rightly known as the smog capital of the world. Of the 40 most polluted cities in the planet, I think 30 are in Asia and over 20 are in India. So the coming of industry, modernization, urbanization is improving people's lives, raising incomes, but it's also polluting our environment. Why is this so? Is it avoidable? And there I think a historian would tell you that since the 70s, much of Europe and North America has cleaned up the air in their city. Since 2000, so has China. So the relationship between regulation and growth, between how you improve people's lives, but not at the cost of their health, is a question historians of the contemporary have to ponder. Much of the 20th century was about war. It's about two great world wars, the Cold War, brush fire wars, 40, 50 million people being killed in the space of 4 or 5 years. In the 21st century, it's not just the wars among people. Sadly, they're not over. It's whether we can live without a war against nature. So what do you mean by nature? Is it a species, a forest, a reef, a mountain, a river? Or is it something more? Is it about the cycles of life, how they repair, how materials are recycled? Is it about the fact that all things are interconnected? And if they're interconnected, where do we fit in? Are we the ones that are breaking the connections or strengthening them? This is a very serious question. It's one which will occupy statesmen and women long after they've forgotten who the President of the United States was, who is the leader of the Communist Party of China, or who won the latest state election in a particular part of India. But I think across countries we'll find that the issues of nature and the environment have become much more significant, not only for young, but for older people. So Mr. Putin wants to be seen with the Siberian tiger. Not Trump, but certainly his two distinguished predecessors wanted to be seen as the friends of nature. In India, the new Prime Minister, 2014, in the first week said that he was monitoring the progress of the monsoon and the state of El Nino, and he promised to clean up the Ganga. So it seems to me nature and the way to achieve peace with nature is on the agenda. How we get there is not clear. The historian may not have answers, but we can give insights. Thank you.